got to get off my soapbox
No,
now.
but you know what? That's a good soapbox to be on because, rarely, Ron, do you and I really agree on almost anything? And I agree 100% because
We agree on a lot of things as
well,
long as
we
it's
do
not
agree on
political.
yeah, we don't talk politics here because well,
Exactly.
then it's going to be a slugfest, and I don't know. I think I'm faster than you,
Why
but
much? So is everybody.
yeah. But in regards to data, people need to understand what they're looking at,
Right.
and the headlines are out there just trying to be clickbait. They want you to read it. Of course, everybody wants to see that the housing market's going to hell in a handbasket, and it's not true. The thing that shocked me more than anything this year is how fast the home buyers acclimated to the higher interest rates. We really thought we were going to see prices drop. We really thought that
Sure.
when the rates went from the 3s to 4s to the 6s to 7s.
Exactly.
We had a little lag, and then guess what? Everybody's cool. There's buy down programs, there's this, there's that, the other thing. People can still buy houses. The demand is there.
Well, we just did I don't usually go and sit too many open houses, but I wanted to see this new program that we were rolling out. And I was at an open house in Newport Beach, Newport Coast over the weekend. And the seller came out from day one with offering a 4.875 30-year fixed, 5.07 APR to keep my compliance people happy. But a 4.875 30-year fixed rate on the condo in Newport Beach. So I was helping people because he realizes that something, there is a problem for some people, especially we do know that affordability in Orange County is not great.
Well, it's, and me, I'm out here, I wish we had affordable homes because yes, I wish everybody could get in a home. I'm also pragmatic. I understand that there is absolutely nothing that I personally can do about supply and demand.
Right.
And that's all this is supply and demand. We do not have the properties. There's not enough inventory.
So now you're going to have Chapman listen to what you're saying too.
You think I'm not going to sit there and make a phone call? I think it's time for lunch with a certain person over there. Anyhow, but it's one of those things, boots on the ground. If you're out there and you want to know what's really going on in your market, find a realtor that knows what they're talking about. Number one, that's the most important.
Well, there you go. That's a challenge.
Well, you can always call me.
Right. I mean, because there are so many, and I love realtors. I deal with them every day. But, out of the millions that there's 5 or 10% that really study their craft.
Exactly. And that's my mantra is know your craft. And in fact, did you know that I am the vice chair of the National Association of Realtors Economic Research Committee?
Wow. Maybe you could tell them how to understand what median price means.
Well, and we attempt, I don't have anything to do with what NAR puts out. We're just looking at studies and what we can do and everything. But it's really important to know what the numbers actually mean. A median price, let's talk about what a median is. That's just kind of like halfway. So if you got a bunch of people buying a whole bunch of expensive houses and you don't have a whole bunch of little condos closing, that's going to skew your median price way out of whack.
Which we did that for a group. I'm going to see if I can find the picture to throw it over to Josh, and maybe we can share it in the next segment and talk about median price. Okay, Miss Nard, was it director or?
I'm vice chair
vice
this year, but
chair.
I'll be chair next year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you get to sit down or what?
They have those for us, but
okay.
The cool thing, out of whatever our membership number is now, probably about 1.5 million, there's only about 70 of us that hold chair positions. So
that means you're a bigwig. Yeah, important person.
Yeah, not really. But it's fun to talk about.
It is what it is.
You know what? It is what it is.
So what do you think? I mean, am I overblowing this thing from Chapman?
Well, I think it's being able to sift out the fact from the real facts from the facts, because I know a lot of people are always say numbers don't lie, the truth lies in the numbers. No, you can manipulate numbers to say anything that you want those numbers to say,
and it depends on which numbers you share, because I'm not saying that Chapman's wrong.
No, I'm not saying Chapman's wrong either. Anecdotally, I'm looking at that chart that you gave. I purchased my house in 2015, did a VA loan, cost me $1,200 to get into the property. My house has doubled.
Since 2015, so that's 8 years, it's doubled.
It's doubled in 8 years.
Now, I don't think we can even figure out the return on cash being that's
On
$1,200.
$1,200, with
Let's talk about this real quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time on
we got
this,
to talk
but I
about
want to.
dead people.
Yeah, and then we can talk about dead people. So, median home prices. So let's think about, what does median price mean? Let's think about this one. So you have a scenario one. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but in scenario one, you've got a nickel and 2 dimes. What's the median? Well, it's a dime, because it's right in the middle. In scenario 2, you've got 2 nickels and a dime. What's the median? What's a nickel? Now, did the nickel change in value? Well, inflation. We're not talking about inflation here.
Well, and what's your average?
Right. So, yeah. So one way you've got an average is, what's that, about 7, and the other one is 25, is about 8.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that to me, the average makes a little bit more sense, because you're taking everything into consideration versus the swings of a market that are just who were the people that bought this past month.
So, Lisa, you'll love this one, because this one really talks, and we shared this a little bit yesterday, and I'm going to do it real quick today, because it's important understanding median home price. Let's talk about this. Home 1, 2022, it's valued at $200,000. Home 2, $250,000. Home 3, $300,000. Home 4, $350,000. Home 5, $400,000. It's safe to say, according to some of not Chapman, but according to the numbers of appreciation, not median home price, prices went up 6% in 2022. So that means home 1 is now $212,000. Home 2 is $265,000. Home 3 is $318,000. Home 4 is $371,000. Home 5 is $424,000. If we look at the median in 2022, the one that sold right in the middle is $300,000. But wait a second. There wasn't as much inventory in 2023, so only 3 homes sold. And the one in the middle now, only homes 1, 2, and 3 is $265,000. That means the median dropped 13%. But appreciation was up 6%. That's what happened with Chapman. That's what Chapman's talking about.
Do your homework, people.
There you go.
And know your local area, because everything's going to depend on your local area.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely. So let's talk about dead people.
Let's talk about dead people. A lot of the inventory we have on the market right now is people that are either going through divorces, but more likely there's a death involved.
I say 6 Ds, Lisa.
What was that?
I use 6 Ds.
6 Ds?
6 Ds is what's going on right now. So
there's all kinds of things I could think of to say, but continue, Ron.
Diplomas, diamonds, diapers, death, divorce, and default.
True.
Those are all catalysts.
Yeah, absolutely.
People have to sell or buy based on those. It's not a matter of want to.
Well, and it's interesting, because we have an inventory problem based on, okay, so yeah, my house doubled in price. So where am I going to go? I got a 2.25 mortgage. I've got a 1-story house. I'm at my advanced stage. Where am I going to go?
Sure.
Why should I go anywhere? So the inventory numbers are, I'm not going to say we've got that mortgage rate lockdown.
So it's advanced age people that are holding up the.
We're not doing what they thought. The boomers are not doing what they thought the boomers were going to do 10 years ago, which was, we're all going to go party down in some retirement center somewhere because we don't like houses. Guess what? We like our houses. We have kids living with us. We have a lot of multi-generational situations, which is not a bad thing at all.
I think it's good.
It's great. It is absolutely wonderful.
Not that I want my kids to move back with me. I moved and I didn't even give them a forwarding address.
But it's kind of the fact of life right now, and it's a wonderful thing. But people aren't moving. Older people are hanging on to those larger homes. So when do the older people move? Well, usually when it's on a gurney out to the
toes up.
Yeah, and that's the truth of the matter. I can say that because my husband passed away a year ago. And, this is reality. This is life. But the thing is, you have to be ready for this reality. And most people that own homes are not ready for that reality.
That's the shameful part of it.
Oh, it's horrible. The things that go on just because you think everything's going to be cool. And you hear about doing a trust and people are like, oh, well, trusts are for rich people. Or yeah, I'll do that later.
But trusts are for smart people.
Trusts are for the smart people.
And those would you say the advanced, what was your term there?
Advanced age.
Advanced age. It's a gift that the advanced aged individuals give to their kids.
Yeah, if you want to do your kids a favor or whoever your heirs may be, it's going to be the best money you ever spent. If you own a house, absolutely, you need to get that property in a trust. Because let me tell you, there's only one other way it's going to go. There's no, third path. Either it's a trust or it goes into probate. And
I say
you don't want it to go into probate.
I say everybody's got a retirement or a succession plan. It's either the one that you set or it's the one that the state sets.
Absolutely.
It's your choice. We're going to talk more about this when we come back. Continue our conversation. Lisa Dunn is with us this morning. I didn't even put this in here, Lisa. Laurel Real Estate Resource.
That's right.
Got to get the name of the company in there. So
I appreciate it.
working with dead people.
Working with dead people.
So Lisa's a real estate professional and been doing this since way back in the last century.
A really long time.
Do you realize this is your second century of doing this?
Just stop. Just stop.
I was just throwing that out there.
See, I'm elderly, right? Elderly millennial. No, just go.
Okay.
I think my kids are elderly millennials. So
yeah, exactly.
But,
so let's talk. One of the things we can I've talked many times about trusts and the need for a trust on the program. I've had attorneys on. We've had some paralegals on. And one of the big problems is people get a trust. You say, well, that's not a problem. Well, then they forget to fund it.
Well, and then people are always thinking, well, I can, I don't want to do that trust because it's going to cost me $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is the attorney's fees are, which are negotiable. Those are all negotiable fees. But the cost of not putting your real estate in a trust is really the point that needs to be driven home, because everybody thinks there's some like magic loophole for them that, well, I don't have a trust, but I'm not having this property go into probate.
I'm not going to die this week.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. If you have assets, there's two things. It's either in a trust or you're going to probate. That will, if it's not in a trust, means nothing. The only thing it may establish is who the heirs are, and who those lucky folks are get to go find an attorney and open up probate and then have that attorney charge state mandated cost. It's law. The fees that they charge is law. You can't negotiate with that. You might be able to negotiate writing up a trust. You're not negotiating on the attorney's fees for probate.
And they're significant.
On a $900,000 sale, you would pay approximately $3,000 out of pocket up front, unless the attorney decided that they would front that cost to you. And that's to start probate. That's to get all of the stuff working with the courts and everything. And then on that $900,000 sale, their fees are $21,000, more or less. Now, I'm not an attorney. I am a certified trust and probate real estate specialist. However, that was a number that I was given last week by my favorite probate and trust attorney when we were trying to figure out how we're going to help somebody who didn't have a property in a trust.
Now, from my knowledge of it, and again, I'm not an attorney either, but I did have someone last week or the week before talking to me about this. The $21,000 is the attorney fees.
Yep.
There's another $21,000 that goes to the probate court fees. So it's from what I've been told, it's roughly 5%.
Yeah, that would be about what you would be looking at. And that would be on top of realtor fees. And the important thing to understand, if you are dealing with a probate situation, if you're named the administrator of a probate case, you can negotiate your realtor fees. If somebody tells you, I'm sorry, it's this flat rate. No. You can negotiate realtor fees just like you can on any other transaction. But the attorney fees, you can't.
You're the vice chair of NAR, so you know even better than most, because the Department of Justice has been saying that fees are fixed.
And fees are
And
not
they're
fixed.
not
Real estate,
fixed.
everything's negotiable. Everything is negotiable.
only
Now
thing is it
remember,
has
you
to
get
be-
what you pay for.
Has to be in writing.
Does have to. Well, in California, all real estate contracts have to be in writing. Anything you say orally, that's not going to fly. But
And the other question that I have on here, that the other thing that we have to throw in here, Lisa, also, is that 900,000 and the roughly 5%, as I've been led to believe, that doesn't mean that you have to have 5% in equity in the property.
no, guess what? You're paying those fees whether you have any money or not.
Right.
So
any equity or not.
yeah, it's a very interesting situation. You know, you there's so many moving parts, and you're grieving. You just lost this loved one, or
Sure.
you were mentioning the 5 people yesterday that
Got perished on the freeway.
yeah, and how they all thought they were coming home.
Yeah, none of them. I don't think any of them wrote a note saying, "I think we're going to get in a car accident today and won't be back."
Yeah, and how many of those 5 would be prepared to be sure that their family was taken care of? Especially, you may think, "Oh, I'm too young to worry about, dying and putting my, property in a trust." What if you're in a car accident with your spouse, the parents, both perish in a car accident, and you have 2 kids in the back seat that survive? Who's taking care of those kids? Guess what? Your trust, you can outline everything that you want taken care of. Your children, who's going to take care of them, how much money is going to be done, how it's going to be done, even your pets. I have a
Sure.
line in my trust about what we're going to do. God, I pray that the cats are dead by then. But if the cats are alive, somebody has to take care of my cats. And so we have it, that this much a month is going to be used to take care of the animals. So it can be that granular. You can really drop your trust to do anything you want your trust to do.
Sure.
But if you don't have it and you get in that car accident,
So you may think you're
oh,
leaving your house to your kids and find out that the court says, no, you're not.
oh, I had a situation that was just heartbreaking. It was a couple that got a divorce, and they have one daughter, and they had like 13 properties, and all of the properties are in a trust. So they get a divorce, husband goes and buys a condo, wife has her house, everything on the wife's side's in the trust. Husband says to the ex-wife, at this point they're amicable, "Hey, honey, what happens if something happens to me? Where does my condo go?" And she's like, "Oh, it goes to our daughter." So a month later, boom, shoots himself in the head, kills himself. He thought everything was cool. He didn't have the condo in a trust.
Wasn't funded.
So he never even set up the trust, period.
Wow.
And guess what? We're doing probate. And the wife can't understand. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Like, because he didn't put it in a trust.
These, you hear these stories all the time about people thinking that they've done something and they haven't done it, and they just don't take care of things for their family. And obviously that one is a real sad case because of, taking himself out.
Mm-hmm.
He could, and that also goes to the other part of this is he went somewhere that he thought was going to give him good advice.
Yeah.
He didn't get a professional.
Yeah. He thought everything was good. And, and I'm seeing this in another situation I'm working on now. Well, mom had a will. Well, mom also had a reverse mortgage. Mom also has 2 of her kids living in the property. Mom passes away. Reverse mortgage is way high because mom milked it for everything a reverse mortgage is supposed to do. It was supposed to cover her to live in that property. Well, guess what? She's not alive anymore. It doesn't care about those 2 kids that are living there. And now they've got agents knocking on the door saying, "I have an investor that wants to buy this property. So, we'll buy your house." And because it is not in probate, because they don't have any money to open the probate, because probate is not free. If you have no equity in that property for a sale, you've got to come up with that 21,000 plus or minus, and it can be way off that number. It can be a lot more.
So let's think about just those numbers, because I don't know the situation. It doesn't matter. But you've got right now we've got a $1,032,000
Mm-hmm.
is the median home price in Orange County, California.
Yeah.
If you maxed out your reverse mortgage, the likelihood is you're not going to owe more than $500,000 or $600,000 on it. But even if you did,
Mm-hmm.
even if you had got it all the way up to $1,032,000, if it's a FHA reverse mortgage, the heirs, the estate, has the right to pay it off at 95% of value. So that's $50,000 that's just getting blown because that there wasn't a trust set up the right way.
Yeah. And, hey, it's great if you got the 50 grand,
Sure.
but that's 50 grand. And
It's
then
basically going to be the same money that's going to the
attorney. Exactly.
So why go through the effort?
Yeah. And if you had it in a trust, you could say, okay, there's a reverse mortgage. And if it's this, then do this. If not, do that. Sometimes it's better just to hand the keys back to the reverse mortgage holder and just say, call it a day. Or if there's equity, you can go ahead and sell it. But right now, these people don't have authority because it's not in probate. The title is held by a dead person. That dead person
can't sign a contract.
No.
And the power of attorney doesn't work.
Yep, exactly. So, people think, well, I can just go ahead and sell this house. You got to go open probate. You got to have the court give you, the authority to do it. It's going to name who can do it. If it's a nasty situation, it's going to be a limited authority probate, and then everything's going to have court confirmation and approval. That gets really crazy. So, it's just prudent. If you own property, talk to a trust attorney. I'm not going to make a penny off of it, but I tell everybody I know, go get a trust. I refer attorneys right and left because it's the right thing to do, because you don't want to be that family trying to figure out, how do I get these kids out? We have no money. I'm handing keys back.
And it's important for everybody, but especially, I don't know why an individual who has a reverse mortgage does not have a trust. Everybody should have one. But a reverse mortgage, by definition, is somebody who's a little bit older, not old, but a little bit older, and they should have a trust every single time. And I know some good reverse mortgage people, and I know that's part of their process, is just say, okay, we closed the loan. Where's your trust? Can't force somebody to do it. I've got a dear friend of mine that I've been talking to for 4 years. Go get a trust. Go get a trust. Do it. If you don't have a good trust attorney, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with a few people, find who you like, who you can work with. Get it done. It's not that hard. It's emotional. You need to do it, when you've got a good frame of mind going, because it is emotional. Get it done.